Coming into autumn, rigs play a massive part in my fishing, just like they do any time of year really, but in autumn I like to change tact a little bit. I tend to go away from the fluoro pop-ups, the brighter hook baits, and go to more pastel colours and more matching the hatch type situations. And with that I tend to fish a lot of balanced bottom baits. I tend to use a lot of fluorocarbon rigs and balanced D rigs so that I can get the presentation that I want. I think as we come into the autumn and the fish are starting the winter feed up, I just think the way the feed changes and obviously natural food's dying off because of the time of year, so the spots that we as anglers have created through the year become more of a focal point for them. So I just think it's more important to be able to fish a rig that is more subtle over the spot, and it will create you more chances. And for me, that's balanced bottom baits. I think the hooking potential with a balanced bottom bait that is well set up and well balanced is phenomenal, and it far outweighs your normal kind of go-to pop-up rigs really. For autumn there's only one bait for me, and that's boilies and more boilies. We're coming into the time of year when they're on the feed, they're looking out for food, they're getting ready for the colder months. They know it's coming before we do, and boilies give them everything that they want for the diet. Don't just use whole baits, I use lots of chop, lots of crumb, and I use lots of powders and liquid additives as well to just boost the attraction around the spots that I'm fishing. The baits obviously sit there, so they're visual, they're leaking off attraction, working all the time, and the powders and liquids are working at different depths in the water column, and the crumb tends to settle into the spot so that there's always a long-lasting scent in the areas that we're fishing, and it just goes hand in hand for autumn, boilies, big carp. When I'm talking about boilies for this time of year, it's fish meals all the way. To my mind, they're second to none. There's nothing big carp love better than a red fish meal. They just scream attraction to them, and they just work and have done forever and a day, and will continue to work forever and a day. When it comes to getting the bait out there's two options for me really. If I can use the boat, then the boat's the winner all the time. It's so accurate, it's so quick, it's so efficient, and you can check the spots and you can see how the bait's falling. The only downside to the boat is you can be a little bit greedy and have a tendency to put a bit too much in at times, so you've got to manage yourself. If the boat's out of the question, then it's the spawn for me. It's easy, it's accurate, it's efficient. I can put small quantities of bait out accurately without causing any disturbance, or if I want to put a better bait out, I can do it relatively quickly. With the spawn I can put whole baits, chop baits, mixed sizes, even crumb and powders out as well. So all in all, it means I can create the baiting effect I want without causing too much disturbance. I know you're probably sick to death of it, but one of the biggest things is location. Any time of the year, location is essential, but coming into the autumn, the fish are starting to group up, they're reacting to changes in weather. Obviously the cooler winds are coming through, they're going to start looking for their winter holding areas, so location, it is key. If you're not on them, you're not going to catch them, so make sure you get yourself on the fish. With the autumn comes the bigger winds, the cooler winds. You'll get mild southwesterlies, westerlies. Make sure you're looking into the corners where those winds blow. If the winds are starting to pick up and you're getting bigger winds, look off the back of them. And I don't mean on the back of them, what I mean is maybe a couple of 100 yards short of which bank the wind's blowing into. That's where all the last of the natural food will be settling. It's where all the turbulence will come to a standstill with the undertow. They're the kind of zones to keep an eye out for. The fish will turn up in those areas. Just make sure you make the most of it. Coming into the autumn, one of the things I like to do is a gear prep check. You know, we're sort of 8-9 months into a year when a lot of us have been fishing a fair old bit. Your gear's had some hammer and some abuse. I like to get my main line changed, I like to get new leaders tied up. Goes without saying that it's things that we should do, but these little bits are often the fine percentages, you know, the bits that make a difference. Be it stripping 30, 40, 50 yards of line off your spool, making sure that the last bit is right, or actually reversing your main lines so that the new line is exposed, or even respooling. Making sure that your leaders are all tied and prepped, ready to go. It makes such a difference, and one of the biggest things is we're coming into a time of year where the floating weed beds are falling on your lines, you're getting wiped out by weed, and it's just good common sense to make sure that your gear's ready for the challenge ahead of an autumn campaign, which can be demanding at the best of times. So just make sure your gear's fresh and prepped and ready to go.